lesbians.
Well, I don't know about them.
Forced diversity. Now, that's a term I've heard a lot in the past 10 years, and especially in the past few weeks. Now, when the anti-woke set trot that out, not only is it an incredibly stupid criticism, it's also one of the most cowardly that they could use. You see, I have witnessed that term being applied to literally any form of diversity, from the most pronounced centre stage representation to a little side character who happens to be part of a marginalised demographic, or pronouns in a drop-down list, or a little tiny pride flag waving in a massive open-world Spider-Man game.
Homosexuals.
And the question I have is this. If any amount of diversity is too much diversity, why do you need the word forced in there? Why do you need that qualification? Is it because anyone who's reasonable would find you incredibly intolerant if you simply said you didn't like a minor bit of diversity in a game? And all I have to say to that is I think I respect people that just use slurs against me more than people who use the term forced diversity, because at least there's an honesty to that, you know? Not saying I'm the bravest girl in the world, but when it comes to that lot, no matter how much I fem up, I'm always going to have bigger balls than them. I'll say this for the pronoun police who make their purchasing decisions based solely on whether something is woke or not. They've actually stumbled onto a win recently. Now, while it's true that they gleefully bought a distinctly mediocre and already forgotten Hogwanks game just to stick it to the transes, and they pledged to buy an actual asset flip in Stray Souls as soon as they found out the director was a fascist twat, I gotta admit, after years of hypocritically political consumerism, the pretend apoliticals actually have a good game to rally around. By all accounts, Black Myth Wukong is rock solid stuff. They can finally put down hatred and the other submundane software they narrowed their gaming down to after swearing off anything with a tiny hint of progressiveness. Yes, it's been decided, because of some reasons, that Black Myth Wukong is antithetical to everything them no-good SJWs stand for. Now, are they going to be normal about having a good game to play? Or no, they're not going to be normal and just enjoy having a good game to play, are they? Well, I say they have a good game to play. Are they actually playing it though? Or have they simply hijacked all discussion about it to such an overshadowing degree that if I were the developer, I'd feel both insulted and disappointed that any discussion about its merits as a game has become all but buried? Let's just call that the Stellar Blade effect. For a long time now, I've categorised the regressive chudsticks who whine about so-called wokeness in video games as the gamers, TM with a capital G. It's a popular term used online to differentiate normal people who play games, aka gamers, from the terminally online strangelings who are so mentally frail they literally cannot handle seeing the word they followed by a slash and a them. Lately, however, I've come to realise that separating these columns into gamers and capital G gamers might be giving the latter entirely too much credit. They are, after all, spending entire days on the internet whining about seeing a black woman in a game one time. I never hear about them, playing the video games they claim to be protecting from SJW's wokeness, and their latest attempt at repackaging the one subject they incessantly bang on about, DEI. That stands for diversity, equity and inclusion, by the way. A fairly basic concept that hinged people traditionally find quite reasonable. Anyway, after seeing how these diversity-fearing imbeciles have acted in the wake of Black Myth Wukong's release, I'm convinced that if they game at all, it's not to enjoy what they're playing. All entertainment is viewed through the lens of a culture war that's become their entire identity. They don't play games for themselves, they play games at other people. And again, that's if they play at all. Alleged fans of Black Myth Wukong have spent most of the past week harassing and lying about an IGN writer for daring to report on the developer's, let's say, spicy attitudes towards women a few months ago. From accusing her of lying in her original report, to literally making up things she said, to acting like she made her social media private to hide from them when she's always been private. Though what would it say about the angry mob if that were true? These people have been slobbering all over their own unearned self-righteousness. Ironic that they called a legit reporting of facts a hit piece when the grossly irresponsible character assassination going on is aimed at the author. They are not gamers. They're not even capital G gamers TM. They're nothing more than the attack dogs of right-wing grifters who've manipulated them into believing such stupid garbage as Dragon Age Veilguard erasing straight people. I did see one very apt word for them. They're not gamers. They're tourists. They are outraged tourists. Oh, and don't worry, we'll get to the mass diaper filling that's occurred over Dragon Age. Oh. I've got my own term for these online roaming pack hunters. And no, it's not just I like to call them fandom appropriators. I've not seen any of them share their actual opinions on Black Myth's gameplay. I've not seen them talk about their enjoyment of it. I've seen them only tout the game's success as a win for their side of a dumbass war and form up to attack anybody they perceive as the enemy. That's all I keep fucking hearing about this game. I have heard about this game all bloody week, and I couldn't tell you what anyone I've seen talking about it actually bloody thinks of the thing. Is it good? Someone just tell me, is Black Myth Wukong good? Because I've got it downloaded, but I figured I wouldn't like it because it's mostly boss fights. Is that true? I don't even know what's true anymore. I think I read that once, before any talk about the actual game got fucking crushed under an avalanche of shit. Speaking of questions, I'm compelled to ask the same question I ask whenever I'm harassed day and night by computer game white knights when I publish a review with a quote-unquote controversial score. If the game you're talking about is so friggin' good, why aren't you playing it instead of wasting hours of your time online harassing a complete stranger who doesn't matter? Wukong must be a fucking shit game if libeling an ultimately benign IGN writer is eating into your playtime. Stop acting like you're the real gamers here. You know what real gamers are doing? They're spending their spare time playing games, not throwing very literal temper tantrums over a game letting you pick your fucking pronouns! Like, you know what I'll be doing after I post this video? Probably playing Black Myth Wukong, because it's more interesting than what some of you are doing right now, which is calling me a man in the comments of an increasingly irrelevant YouTube channel, because that's the kind of low-stakes, low-hanging nonsense you care about.
These guys are creepy and yes, just weird as hell.
Actually, I might skip Wukong and replay the demo of Gori, Cuddly Carnage. Have you seen that shit? I tried the demo with very tempered expectations and came away fucking stunned. It's the most early 2000s shit I've played since the literal early 2000s, and I've become obsessed with it. It's like a Maso Tony Hawk Fur Fighters met Metal Arm's glitch in the system by way of a psychedelic fucking nightmare. I think I'm in love.
The goggles do nothing.
I guarantee you it's the best game about a cat using his sentient skateboard to dismember killer unicorns you'll play this year. And you can quote me on that.
I'm sorry, but I have quite strong views on that sort of caper.
Anyway, the response from the online hunting packs to Dragon Age Veilguard's queer representation is not only goddamn hilarious, but incredibly telling as well. Before we get to what a self-report their outrage is, let's sample some of it, shall we? Twitter, formerly ex-user Arkstan has been sharing a load of commentary from the game's Steam forums. Content warning ahead for extreme amounts of even more extreme stupidity. This is a no-buy from me. This feels like Star Wars acolytes or the Marvels. Absolutely shoehorned agenda and propaganda. Gameplay and old Dragon Age fans are not their target audience. So I am out. Yeah, remember what this pod said about target audiences. It'll be important for later. Extremely woke game director! I hope this game doesn't DEI LGBTQ itself to death. Finn. I like this one because the writer included the T and the Q. Say what you will about the stupidity of the sentiment, at least they're not a turf.
Where the white men at? I think I saw one in the entire trailer.
Well, now you know how non-white men have felt watching game trailers for most of the medium's entire existence, don't you?
They made Morrigan ugly. Why? Why are they doing this? Yo, BioWare devs, why can't we just have one super attractive female companion in the game? Why did you have to make Morrigan ugly and you covered her up more? Are you guys religious Puritans or something? You say there's full nudity, but why would anyone want to see ugly women companions naked?
Thick earth. You sad, pastic winker.
So I wasn't planning to go on any derailing tangents for individual comments, but oh boy, there's a lot to unpack with this lamentation. A lamentation that calls Morrigan ugly for basically looking the same but a little bit older and wearing different clothes and a different hairstyle. So it's always fascinating to me how these guys equate sexiness entirely with nudity. Like, hey, I get it. I watch way too much porn as well, but I'm not so poisoned by it that I need to see someone naked to find them attractive. This is one of the most common controversies you see from these people, shrieking in unstimulated rage because a woman is wearing more clothes than she used to and is thus puritanical. That is a self-report in and of itself. If you cannot distinguish beauty from nudity, that is absolutely a you problem. Like the comment admits though, Veilguard will have nudity in it. Of course it will. It's a BioWare game, it's gonna have awkward sex scenes. So exactly how much skin do you need to see at all times before you're satisfied it wasn't made by Puritans? How much do you need? It's like I always say, corporations don't just want some nudity, they want all of the wait, no, that's the wrong catchphrase. Remember how the fandom appropriators screamed puritanical censorship over Street Fighter 6's Cammy wearing pants and a jacket? Like, many of the real Street Fighter fans would agree that her updated look is actually hotter than the, let's face it, unflatteringly dull green leotard. Well, it's hotter aside from the flag shagging back of the jacket, of course, but to any member of the Reform Party, that's only more reason to pop a huge core boner. Also, it's fucking hilarious that Street Fighter 6 still had Cammy's leotard as an alternate costume, because it was never about making her less hot, it was about giving her a different kind of hot outfit to choose. By the way, if you think the leotard's sexier, more power to you. I'm a leg gal. I understand. Another thing of note, most of us lefty queeros actually don't mind sexy women with a predilection for the skimpy. Have you not seen the big queer following Bayonetta and Nier Automata have? We want... Let me just get this right. Dat ass. However, my taste isn't so utterly narrow that I need to see a cheeky hint of side boob to find someone hot. It'd be nice now and again, but it's not necessary. These whiny kids today clearly aren't old enough to remember how April O'Neil was a Saturday morning sex symbol. That jumpsuit. So many pockets. So much utility.
I keep telling you, you're not my type.
Don't even get me started on Gadget Hack Wrench. Actually, no, seriously, don't. I've said way too much already.
Comically woke trailer. Guys, this is 2024. The woke as possible isn't just a meme. It feels dated. This isn't 2008, where it was funny to invent inept sexuality because a black was elected, and it was racist to say anything but praises. We're almost 20 years later. Ghostbusters 2016 was dead on arrival when the trailer came out. Almost 10 years after this, and you still finance this DEI farce?
Because a black was elected. Because a black... Is this game woke? Woke mean no bi. All woke game equals bad, so is it woke? Someone pulls update DEI detect on this. That's not the first time I've seen someone post in the Steam forums for a game asking if it's woke. It is seriously the first thing some people want to know about a game, which is just
Weird as hell.
usually I want to know if a game's good.
like Gori, Cuddly Carnage. Oh, and yes, DEI detected is an actual thing, because like I said, these fuckos claim to be completely apolitical, but their gaming decisions are based obsessively on their politics. Let's see what the fine folks at DEI detected have detected lately. Oh, they're angry at Concord, because it has pronouns in small text at the top right-hand corner of the screen. That's a normal thing to be upset about that I'm sure one day they'll be able to explain in a way that doesn't make them sound like massively bigoted tosspots who are mad at LGBTQ+ people for simply existing in public. Oh, and they don't want to fuck any of the women. Of course. Too many clothes, I guess.
Right, they clearly don't know what they're talking about. One of them stood there complaining that it's a Technicolor nightmare. One of them's like, it's not dark and gritty enough. I'm sorry, you are wrong, and the reason you are wrong is the first road that you see when you walk out of the first town in the first game. It's the Imperial Highway. White, marble, roads. Do you know why?
My husband is a big Dragon Age fan.
The reason there's a white marble road there is because
biggest one I know. They actually know what they're talking about.
No matter where you go,
They've picked up a lot of inaccuracies in the complaints.
They're really pretty, gorgeous, curving arches. And you know what? When we finally get to see the capital of Tevinter after waiting for so many games, like decades at this point, we get to see something that looks like it's in the middle of the place. It looks like World War II in there.
Woke DEI, woke DEI, woke DEI, like fucking parrots. I did like this one though, furious that Morrigan has aged as she's gotten older, because the aging process is woke now. Mortality is woke. Actually, I might have to see eye to eye on that one. I mean, I'm 40 and I got mad amounts of pipe from guys who could have sworn I was 26. Well, 2 amounts of pipe. The others pegged me at early 30s before they pegged me in. But yeah, they've driven that DEI thing into the ground at a record pace. I think I got tired of that one quicker than I did woke. I miss the cuck days. Remember that? When the ethics in games journalism hate mob were calling people cuck all day. God, Gamergate was deeply weird. Something I've said on this show years before calling right-wingers weird was even a meme. As horrible as it was to go through, it was a lot better than Gamergate 2 The Quickening. What we're seeing now is such a derivative sequel and devoid of such comic relief moments as this. I am a gamer, not because I have no life, but because I have many. Anyway, the point I want to make without getting derailed by my own nonsense this time is that I refuse to believe any of these self-styled fans of Dragon Age are actually all that familiar with BioWare games at all. Like, if you're still acting shocked and betrayed that BioWare put queer rep in its games, how long have you actually been playing BioWare games? Like, were any of you even alive when Mass Effect 3 made people pee their pants over the fact you could make 2 boys do a sexing on each other?
Where are the white men? Where are the white men? What are the first ones you see? Barrick! They are the majority of the series. That's where they are. And it looks like magic here in Kent.
It is a common tactic of the fandom appropriating attack pack to claim they're the long-term fans, the real fans, who have been betrayed for they aren't the target audience anymore. Darlings, if y'all are so mad about a BioWare game having gays in it that you've sworn off playing their games, you were never the target audience. And you should stop pretending you ever were, because this is what BioWare has done for years. But I can see the clap back to what I'm saying coming a mile away. Maybe they simply think BioWare has gone too far this time, and that's why they're mad now in 2024 current year argument. Yeah, that excuse might work if there wasn't a massive stink raised about gay romances in Mass Effect 3, or one very minor side character in Dragon Age Inquisition being trans. If BioWare has gone too far this time, why were you all so mad at those tiny moments of inclusion? Why are optional pronouns in Starfield, or a tiny they-them in the corner of a character selection screen so offensive to you? Why did you need to mod the pride flags out of Spider-Man? Did they hurt you or something? Is that what they did? Did they hurt you, you poor little eggshell princelings? Remember when people got mad at a game called Virginia and they labelled it SJW propaganda before it even came out because they saw a black woman was the protagonist and they just assumed the rest? Then when it came out, it was just a very simple mystery story with nothing inherently social justicey. I saw them doing the exact same thing to a new game on Twitter, formerly X, the other day. I can't even remember the game, but they saw one woman of colour in a screenshot and they lost it. Started screaming DEI. If even the tiniest amount of representation is too much representation for you, fuck you. Whether it's a tiny bit of inclusion in a game that was made for a wide audience, or inclusion in a game that legitimately wasn't made for you but you just couldn't tolerate its existence, fuck you. The so-called shoehorned propaganda is the simple acknowledgement of a marginalised person's existence, and it always has been. They act like this regardless of the scale of the inclusivity. To claim otherwise is intellectual cowardice from someone who doesn't want to admit the obvious because they know it would make them sound completely unreasonable. So they say it's just bad design without explaining what is so bad about it because they can't. They say it's forced diversity because they think if they tack the word forced onto it, nobody can call them out on the fact they just said they hate diversity. Like, just say it. Just say you hate diversity. Don't hide behind the word forced like a little bitch. Just outright say you hate diversity, you hate looking at people who aren't white, you cannot tolerate queer people. It really wasn't that long ago that the alt-right content mill got weeks of outrage over a literal split second of gay visibility in that Buzz Lightyear film. We know by now how low your bar for defining propaganda is. Propaganda, by your reckoning, is being reminded of the existence of people who are not you. That is your bar. Just say it. You wouldn't be stalking the internet hunting for inclusive games to attack like the pitchfork-wielding Yarnamites you are otherwise. Oh, Yarnam is the setting for Bloodborne, which is a video game, by the way. Some of you fake gamers won't know that.
I can play the game better than them. That is a fair point. I'm not being unreasonable here. Only 2 companions at a time. Fair point. Not being unreasonable here, I like more things to be a control freak about.
This past week, the Monster Hunter community successfully drove the status quo warriors out of, well, their community. One of the most prolific ringleaders of the anti-woke mob, whose name I don't care to say because it's unearned attention, so I'm just gonna call him Grundle Bumpsworth, has been manufacturing outrage like it's going out of style, seeming to find a new game to yell woke at every other day. The aforementioned "we're the betrayed true fans" routine was met with firm resistance from the actual Monster Hunter fans who disowned and laughed at the fake controversy. It was also pointed out just how little Grundle Bumpsworth knew about Monster Hunter as he got basic facts and characters so wrong, he had to delete his post complaining about it. These fake gamer tourists, these cuckoos, don't actually know what they're talking about. It's why they end up behaving like clowns. Unfortunately, clowns can be quite frightening.
Clowns can look rather intimidating if you see a lot of them in one place.
And here's the scary part with these bozos. They don't care. It's not just that they don't care about the games they're pretending betrayed them. No, they don't care how dumb they look doing so, how blatantly obvious their contempt for progress is, because the contempt is the point. It's a conclusion that hit me when, for the umpteenth time, I was called a pervert who enjoys beating up defenseless girls against whom I have a biological advantage. Gender-critical losers have been throwing that shit at me ever since I won my first women's wrestling championship. A professional wrestling championship. Professional wrestling. They routinely claim I have a biological advantage and I'm beating up defenseless women? In professional wrestling. You get how fucking stupid that sounds, right? But here's the thing. They have to know what pro wrestling is. They can't not know. And they have got to understand that a performance art in which zombie bikers fight demonic pyromancers isn't like the regular sports they try to exclude trans women from. But they do it anyway. They say a pointless thing that makes them look incredibly stupid. Why? It is because having an actual point is not the point. The point is the exclusion. The point is to show contempt. And they are so full of that contempt, that venom, that seething hatred. They honestly don't care how much they have to humiliate themselves to express it. Some of them might not even know what it is I do. They just know I'm trans, they saw I was involved in a women's thing, and then just went, "Oh man, biological, blah." Just repeating their handful of stock phrases, or like a talking doll with its string pulled. Because it ultimately doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter what wrestling is to them. They just get off on typing biological male 50 times a day. The cruelty is the point.
as is often said of the Republicans, who ultimately benefit from the culture wars they've stoked. So it is that the pack hunters pretend they're gamers. They pretend they're an abandoned target audience, and they sound whiny, and they get shit wrong, and they make themselves look like ignorant reactionary crybabies, and it doesn't matter if they're laughed at in the process. What matters is that they keep reminding people like me that being alive is offensive to them. Funny as their dumbassery is, and it can be very funny, one can't lose sight of the fact that what they're ultimately arguing for, while never having the spine to say it out loud, is our complete disappearance. What they want is what that one chode said Dragon Age Veilguard was doing to him. They want our erasure. Great, now I've got da 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 stuck in my head. So thanks a lot for that, The Discourse. Now look, I am aware that a lot of anti-woke people do actually play some games. They do actually play, a number of games, at least the ones they've narrowed down to being not woke enough for them to tolerate. The thing is though, I think we should still call them fake gamers, because not only are they indistinguishable, they're quite happy being puppeteered by the tourists, by the outrage mongers, by the fandom appropriators. Plus, I don't think anyone who has actual respect for the medium would fucking hijack it the way it's been hijacked to serve these regressive rhetorical needs, to serve this culture war, to be little more than props. I just don't think that's what gaming is or should be. I get to be the judge of that because, as everybody knows, I'm the world's one true gamer. The only gamer in the world. A world that thanks God for me. Well, not so much the world these days, but a small amount of the world. Thanks God for me. The one true gamer.
Stumbling out of bed and yawning, didn't get home till 2:45. I could do with a D. I could do without the 9 to 5. Gotta work hard to survive. That's the last time he touches my knee. I could do with a D. I could do without the British weather. Halfway home at the end of my tether, both of my feet are killing. I could do with a D. I could do with a D. I could do with a D.